Gather round, it's story time. Comics Dad's got the latest on the line. From panels to pixels, we'll explore the world of comics and so much more. Welcome to Talkin' Shop, where we never stop discussing heroes, villains, every plot twist we've got. From ink to screen and all in between. With Comics Dad and friends, it's the scene. We'll dive into pop culture, what's hot, what's not. Entertainment, buzz, the latest plot. Content creation, how we make it pop. Sit back, relax, let's talk shop. Welcome to Talkin' Shop, where we never stop discussing heroes, villains, every plot twist we've got. From ink to screen and all in between. With Comics Dad and friends, it's the scene. Whether it's manga, movies, or memes, we've got the insights, the laughs, and the schemes. So join the chat, let's elevate the conversation, don't hesitate. From classics to new, from indie to mainstream, we'll cover it all like a superhero's dream. Maybe we'll stray talk of other things, but comic love is what gives us wings. Welcome to Talkin' Shop, where we never stop discussing heroes, villains, every plot twist we've got. From ink to screen and all in between. With Comics Dad and friends, it's the scene.
Hey everybody, Comics Dad here, and thank you guys so much for joining me for another very special episode of Talkin' Shop. Every episode is special because we love all of our guests, but this one is a particularly special one. Damn, I can't talk tonight. Before I introduce my guest tonight, let's go through the chat, say hello to everybody, and also thank you everybody for joining me for this early edition of Talkin' Shop. I am nothing but an accommodating dad and an accommodating host, so I appreciate everybody for being here with me and my guest tonight this early. But let's say hello to the chat. So we got Shauna Pippin with a bunch of waving emojis. Hi, Shauna. Andrew Wordness says like and subscribe. Yes, people, please like and subscribe. And also, if you're over on Rumble, please like and follow. Because it's not subscribe over there, it's follow. John Ambler's here, says, hail Comics Dad and Comics Crew. Hail, John Ambler. How are you, brother? Panda Simone says, hail Comics Dad. Hail, Panda Simone. Linnea is here, says, hi, everyone. Hi, Linnea. How are you? I hope you are well, and thank you so much for joining us so late over where you live. It's late for you, so hopefully I don't get you to sleep too quickly. But you're probably tired already. And then over on Rumble, we have Karen Catmom says, hey Comics, glad I didn't miss you live. Karen Catmom, thank you so much. Karen Catmom is a mod for Bald Brad and the Bald Brad Show over on YouTube and on Rumble. So hail Karen Catmom, hail Bald Brad, hail the Bald Army. Thank you, Karen, for being here. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into introductions, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Before we get into introductions. So, as everybody knows, my wife and I, Queen Comics Wife, we both have been accepted into the Rumble Creator Program last month, starting this past Sunday. So, for anybody on YouTube, if you don't have a Rumble account, please, I recommend that you do create one. They're free to make. Go check out myself and Queen Comics Wife over on Rumble, because also Queen Comics Wife and I are going to be doing Rumble exclusive stuff as well. Since we are part of the creator program now, we want to definitely help promote Rumble a little bit more, but we'll still be doing YouTube stuff as well. But there is a link in the description on the YouTube side for anybody who doesn't have a Rumble account. You can use the link there it's my quote, they call it a referral link. They're free to make. It doesn't cost you anything, but if you use that link to make your account, it just basically shows Rumble that you're a supporter of mine, or if you use Queen Comics Wife's link, you're a supporter of hers, and Rumble just, I don't know what, but the Rumble, like, I don't know, they throw us a little bone by, I don't know, maybe some more exposure, or like a couple bucks or something. I don't know what they do, but they gave us a referral link. I'm going to use it. But thank you everybody, regardless of what platform you're on. I appreciate it. I appreciate you all being here. And then also lastly on the YouTube side, because Rumble monetized from day one, that's how it works, but YouTube not the case. So if anybody is feeling generous tonight, again, as always I say, you don't have to, it's never required. I don't expect it. You work hard for your money, as do I and my wife. Well, once I'm working again. You guys all know the story about that at this point. Yeah, it's never expected. So anybody that ever is generous enough to donate, whether it's 50 cents or $50 or whatever, it's always appreciated. I always thank you guys so much. So does Queen Comics wife. And you guys are a blessing to us and a blessing to your own friends and family as well. So thank you to anybody who donates ahead of time via the links in the description. But without further ado, now that I got through all that, oh, cool, look at who it is in the chat. I'm sorry, Kevin. Hold on. Queen Comics Wife says, yeah, Comics Dad, thanks for not acknowledging me. Everybody go check out Queen Comics Wife on YouTube and on Rumble. The channel name is the same on both. Queen Comics Wife. She's a great gal. My number one gal. And that voice that I just used, we may be talking about something going on with that voice later on. Who knows? Depends on how much time we got. But Queen Comics Wife, hail to you. And now, finally, I gotta stop. I can't let him wait any longer. Let's get him on. This is important, folks. Stop talking. But ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, our guest tonight, he is a wrestling promoter, a hashtag Dad Titan. He is a based dad. He is a member of the Tooney Town podcast, a wrestling podcast on YouTube. He is a pop culture war, entertainment collaborator, contributor, commentator, whatever you want to call him, on the WDW Pro show. He is the one, the only, the based weightlifting dad himself, Kevin Apollo. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Kevin Apollo. Where is my clip? Here it is.
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it.
Kevin.
Fantastic use of clips.
Oh yeah, the very first time I was having a guest on, I was like, I need to do something like people use the Shia clap a lot. I was like, okay, well they use it pretty short because it is a long clip. So let's use the whole thing, but then let's play on the fact that it is so long. So I was like, all right, well it's long. People are gonna get bored. They're gonna say, come on, move it along, get on with it. And then the second I said it, I was like, oh, Holy Grail, let's go. There it is. But Kevin, sir, thank you so much for joining me tonight here on Talkin' Shop. I appreciate it. How are you today?
I'm good, man. Listen, thank you for having me. It's a privilege, man. This is cool. I'm glad it worked out. I've been looking forward to this for a really long time. Really since you reached out. So hopefully we get to have some fun and if you like it, have me back. I love doing this stuff. I love supporting my friends.
Guys, you hear that? I have a friend. Yay! But no, I appreciate it, Kevin. Yeah. Oh man, now that I think about it, if it was a little too far out for you, I apologize. I like to be very structured, and I like to have things planned not just in advance, but fairly far in advance. This way, God forbid, if something would work or family or like if one of the kids has something coming up or whatever, I can look at the schedule and be like, nope, sorry, kid, your thing's got to go. I got a show tonight. But no, it's, I think I reached out to you we're in June, probably about 2 months ago. So I reached out pretty far.
It worked out. It helped me multitask my time because, I had to travel for work. And then it just something was in the back of my mind, like, you have something to do. You have something. And then I looked at like, oh my God. Oh, that's right. I can't let him down. He hit me up like 2 months ago. I gotta figure this out. So carving a little time out of my chaotic day to have some fun. So, it's never a bad thing.
And that's what we're all about here, both on Comics Dad channel and Queen Comics Wife as well. We're about fun. We're about hanging out, and I'm here to I'm all about talking about comics as well. So, but before we get into talking comics, Hopcrop in the chat says, "Imagine having a friend past the age of 30. Couldn't be me." Oh, Hopcrop, cut it out. We're buddies too. Ladies and gentlemen, Hopcrop is Web Blanet, the creator of Dreams Uncharted, independent comic creator over on dreamsuncharted.com and on X. Go check him out. He is a good dude creating some cool and good stuff. Kevin, I'll shoot you his link later too if you want to check it out. His model is pretty cool. Everything that they put out is free to read on their website. But the way instead of doing like a Kickstarter, people donate if they want to see another page. So once they hit a certain goal, then he releases another page of whatever titles that they have available on the website. So, but yeah, hail web. But let's first and foremost, let's talk about comics. Like I said, so Kevin, for those in the chat or in the audience who do not know or are not familiar with Kevin, he does contribute quite a bit on the WDW Pro show, and given that WDW Pro and the crew there, they talk a lot about Universal, Warner Brothers, Disney, stuff like that. And with talking about Disney related things and Warner Brothers related things comes talking about Marvel and Marvel Studios and Marvel Comics and DC Comics and the DCEU. Is that the correct acronym at that point? I don't know.
it's back to the DCU is what James Gunn is using.
Oh, jeez. Because DCU, I think, is also the name of their online comic app as well, DC Unlimited, I think. Yeah. So, it's so many DCUs. So, Kevin, since you are quite a knowledgeable person on comics, probably more so than myself. I'm just a regular dude, just likes looking at pictures because I can't read. What got you into comics early on? Or, like, what's kind of your earliest memory of comics?
Sure. Oh, I know exactly. My uncle, he passed away a couple of years ago, but my uncle, he was the middle child, so my mother was the oldest, and he was the middle child. So he was like in his 20s, like early 20s, when I was like 8, like between 6 and 8. He was a big comic guy, big toy guy, cartoon guy. Deep love for the Avengers, but just loved. DC was his company. But the X-Men were his absolute diehard favorite book. The Avengers were his second. And he lived in New York City, so he would go to at least a dozen stores all over town. And then back then too, comic shops weren't really that prolific. You had to go usually to the convenience store. We'll go to the back store, go to the rack, the old school rack. So
on the racks, the spinning racks, or just at the newspaper stands on the corner. The golden era.
Yep, exactly. So he, whenever I get to hang out with him, he would let me read his books. But back then, like the old school Secret Wars toys and the DC Superpowers toys, all that kind of stuff. He's a avid collector. He has his X-Men collection actually predated the giant size X-Men relaunch.
Really?
So he had a couple of the strangest teams of all, and it ran all the way through until he got sick in like 2012, but it won unbroken. So everything from strangest teams, and then he just collected everything. And so his. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say that's amazing. Yeah, it's very few and far between where you have, whether it's members of your own family or you just hear anybody collecting for that long. It reminds me of that Selling Superman documentary on Amazon. Mm-hmm. Continue. Please forgive me.
So no, please. Again, he loved everything. Old sci-fi. Soap operas, whatever it was. He consumed it, and he had that love, that deep-seated love for entertainment. Sci-fi, just fiction in general. And as I got a little older, and I was, because he's what are you gonna do? 20-something out here trying to live their life and run around, but he would take me, his nephew, to the comic book shops, and I'd watch him and his friends like legitimately debate who could beat who in a fight. Why these power structures don't work? The interpersonal relationships inside of the X Mansion. And one day he decided he was going to let me buy my first comic, which was 1988's Flash number 15. I'll never forget it because the cover is the Flash beating up Wally West, and I knew nothing about Crisis or anything like that. So my mind was blown. Like, the Flash is beating up. Why is the Flash beating up Kid Flash? And after that, that's all she wrote. I started picking up, some of John Byrne's Man of Steel run.
Yes.
I got to kind of, Fantastic Four. Well, Fantastic Four and Spider Man were always my favorite Marvel. Were always my favorite Marvel properties. But of course, I adopted his love of the X Men. But if you were a '90s baby, everybody loved the X Men back then.
Oh,
So
for sure.
I say that hardly counts. And then really, like, dude, by the time I hit my mid-20s, I was probably buying, I want to say, 300 titles a month. For a
Holy
really long
crap.
time. So like I think there was only like two other guys who purchased more comics than me out of my shop, and one of them was a Yankee. And they would never tell me who it was, but one of them was a New York Yankee. So he had someone come in and buy, who would pick up his books for him.
Huh.
But back then I loved it, man. Like, because I got all the major DC titles, all the major Marvel titles, any offshoots, what ifs, Elseworld. I'd grab a couple of indie books every once in a blue moon if I knew who the creator was. And it was just fun. It was just fun. On top of that, I'm squeezing in my my toy habit, my wrestling habit. Trying to go to the movies and just being an all around geek. And then, because I always like to have something new, I was like, well, I got to find all the crap I love from the '80s, and maybe find something from the '70s to watch and obsess over, because I have now I have unlimited access to Star Trek between what was Spike TV, G4, and everybody else that was just pumping out Star Trek at the time.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it was good. 20s was good to me.
Fair enough. G4 and Spike TV, those are channels I have thought about in a very long time. Before we carry on, just people keep popping in and just like saying hi to everybody. Belmont Press, Justin Belmont. What's going on, Justin? How are you, man? Justin's actually going to be on Talkin' Shop in the middle of August. We're going to talk about his indie comic that he had funded earlier this year, Pencils Down. So, hail, Justin. How are you, man? Where is she? I saw it. There she is. Shellfrog says, hail, Comics Dad, and chat. Hail, Shellfrogs. How are you tonight, lady? I hope you're doing well. Congratulations on the new job. And I hope that is all going well for you. And then Queen Comics Wife says, Comics Dad, guess what? I'm sure you're going to tell me anyway, Queen Comics Wife, so go ahead and throw it in the chat. And then over on Rumble, so I don't know why it's not showing up here in my little chat box, but that's why I keep the actual chats pulled up on my screen as well. Karen Catmom said, Comics Dad, many of us enjoyed watching your wife recently. You two are a cute, supportive couple, and it sounds like you are also amazing parents. Karen Catmom, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. It means a lot, especially because I'm just here. I'm just doing my thing. I don't know what I'm doing. And then Kendrick on Rumble says, hey, Comics here for a few minutes. Kendrick, thank you so much for stopping by, man. I appreciate it. Kendrick, I see in the Welcome to the Rebellion podcast chat over on Rumble every morning. But thank you, Kendrick, for stopping by. And okay, more people are stopping in. C&D Design says, what's up, everybody? Hey, C&D, how are you, man? Getting everybody tonight. Look at Kevin, I gotta have you on every week, man. We'll just turn this into the Comics Dad and Kevin Apollo show. But just to let you know, any revenue, because I don't generate revenue, so how does half a nothing sound?
I'm all for it, brother.
Sounds good. Queen Comics Life said 3 of Pumpkin's babies made it. We're having 3 thriving babies. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so just for context, Kevin, because most of the chat knows, but for anybody who doesn't know also, Queen Comics Wife has a pet jumping spider named Pumpkin. The thing is the bane of my existence, even though it stays in a container about this big. And right before we had bought Pumpkin, apparently Pumpkin had met Mr. Pumpkin. And so about, maybe a month ago or so, the spider cocooned up and laid a bunch of eggs, and they hatched, and Queen Comics Wife was transferring them over into individual containers as they were getting ready to grow in a little bit. But last week we thought that they had all died, because it gets a little cold in the house, especially now that we're getting into the warm weather and all that. But apparently 3 are alive, and she is also cocooned up or nested up or whatever to lay more eggs. Yay me.
Yay. Life
Yes.
finds a way.
And I say yay me because Kevin, have you ever seen why am I drawing a blank on his name? Not I don't know, it'll come back to me. But have you ever seen the movie Eight-Legged Freaks?
Yes, I have.
That movie is the reason why I hate spiders. My dad sat down with me. In the tender age, like 7, 8, 9 years old. We watched that movie, and I said, "Nope." Now, and it's very ironic because Spider-Man is my favorite comic book character.
You got to check out Arachnophobia.
No, I'm okay. I can't, like, Lord of the Rings, I cheer super hard when Sam kills the giant spider, but I could barely watch that scene. In Mandalorian, when there was that giant space spider, I was immediately like, Pedro, I know you're flaming, but kill it with that flaming fire and all will be okay. But yeah, spiders and comics that are a no-go. But yeah, Hopcrop, it's all good, man. I appreciate you stopping by, man. Same with you, C&D. Everybody, come and go as you please. You don't gotta let me know. Just I appreciate you all being here. But so what was? Because I know you're traveling, so I know you don't. I'm pretty sure, unless you just are really really sentimental and carry a couple of your books in your collection with you. But the odds are very high that you don't have any with you. So back home, what would you say is one of your favorite books in your collection?
Oh gosh, I don't really know. Other than my OG Infinity Gauntlet run, one of my Jim Lee X-Men 1 covers survived. Me being 10. I have, I can't remember what issue it is, but I have one of the when we went through the glow in the dark phase. I have the Dan Ketch Ghost Rider.
Okay. Yep.
On that cover. I have a. I can't remember. It was it was in the Deathstroke comic where he fights Batman. I love that story. The where he essentially beats the crap out of Bruce, and then Bruce kind of realizes like, well, Slade fights to kill. I fight to I fight to stop, and then they kind of go at it again, and they decide they got to team up, and it's like we're in the middle of one of the many Slade trying to be a babyface moments.
Gotcha.
But also makes the gosh, I think it was Nightwing, maybe it was Nightwing 90, one of the high ones before they rebooted, where Slade and Dick fight, and he finally beats Slade. And I was like, yes! We finally gave Dick an accomplishment that Bruce does not have, because people keep forgetting that Bruce did not beat Slade.
Nope.
Bruce does not get an infinitive win on Slade until Infinite Crisis.
One could argue though that he won when it mattered most. Infinite Crisis, all the cards are on the table. Yes. Batman said, "I have no time for you. Get out."
Originally, that panel, what happened in that sequence was supposed to be them killing Dick Grayson.
Oh, was it?
And then it got changed at the last second. But because Dan DiDio was obsessed with killing Grayson, so it was animated, and Jeff Johns fought him on it. He got him to change his mind at the absolute last second. The only thing they were able to do was just change like a dialogue bubble.
Okay.
But Batman's super reaction is him reacting to seeing Dick die.
I did not know that. Look at that! I learned something today, folks.
And when you run into the 1 year later, when it's Jason Todd in the Nightwing costume, it's because it was supposed to be Jason taking over the Nightwing identity because Dick was gone.
Gotcha. Yeah. And I can't, because I'm not the biggest DC reader. I know about Infinite Crisis and like some of the major events. But so like I can't imagine what Jason Todd would be like as a Nightwing. When I think Jason Todd, I immediately jump to what everybody else jumps to. I jump to Red Hood. So
I'd say it was awesome. Unhinged Nightwing throwing people through windows and being extra violent was a little fun. And I think it's silly because it's kind of redundant now because they did it in Marvel proper. But I have two of my favorite what ifs. The first one is the what if the Fantastic Four's second child had survived? Would she destroy the world or save it?
Yep.
The first half of the book is as dystopian as it gets. She's like some probability warping demon, and she kills Sue during she kills off all four members really slow. And Franklin's trying to be like, "Hey, Dad, this thing isn't this baby isn't good." She's essentially Damien from The Omen,
Oh
and Reed doesn't
God.
realize until the last second, and then manages to save Franklin. The second half of the book is just this awesome, super like fun family story,
Mhm.
and then the other what if is
Close the door, please.
what if Doctor Doom became Sorcerer Supreme, and it has one of my favorite finishes where he beats Strange to to Tibet, and kind of forces his way into becoming the Ancient One student. When Strange shows up, Doom forces him to leave. So Doom winds up having train under the Ancient One. Baron Mordo tries to kill Doom, and Doom implants like an explosive device in his brain.
Oh jeez.
And,
I mean, that's probably one of the most Doom ways outside of like outside of the mystic and cosmic powers and energies, but like especially early Doom, that is like the most Doom way to take somebody out.
and the finish is my favorite. They fight this big monster, and Victor sacrifices his body. And as he's dying, the Doombots kidnap Stephen Strange, and Doom jumps into Strange's body and takes it over, and just resumes being the Sorcerer Supreme with the stolen body of Stephen Strange.
I'm not surprised. Not surprised. That's what happened. I mean, you know what though? That would and see those are the. I know it's a what if, but honestly, if they could just go back and take the what ifs and turn them into canon, Marvel Comics would probably be sitting in a much better place than it is right now.
Yeah. So again, I'm a person who went from buying 200, 300 bucks a month, occasionally more. And this was like up until when they started price hiking, I had to start backing off. So like when we start getting around the new 52, I start being a lot more deliberate with what I'm buying because the price of books just increased exponentially.
Oh yeah.
But I'm still buying a lot. I'm still buying a lot.
I had to hit the pause button for a while because just between going and getting back issues and then buying new books, my wife and I sat down one day because she was getting building her collection and getting some new books too with me for a while, and we sat down one day. We're like, we're gonna run out of room in the house. we need to chill.
I know that is funny, right? You do have that realization, like, oh wait, what am I going to do with all this?
Yeah. Well, what ended up happening was, about 2 years ago, unfortunately, I ended up selling like 80% of my collection. I mean, it still wasn't a lot, but it was like 3 long boxes and like 6 short boxes. It's still sizable.
It still hurts though.
Yeah. But so now though we're starting to get back into picking up new books, and
Nice.
especially with me having the channel now and everything, it's I can't be Comics Dad and not be regularly reading comics. So, but
the cool thing though is now you've got this super expansive indie market. You've got the alternative companies. You've got things like Rippaverse. It's not just having to suffer, through the big two anymore, which I think is pretty cool. Because I do miss buying comics. It was really one of my favorite things to do. But I guess about to say it's just when we started when the creatives started resenting the fans for the fans' knowledge and passion, when we started deviating from who the characters really were, when the writers stopped respecting the works of those who came before them, and then we started seeing all the woke lunacy, I had to walk away. I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it anymore. And and it broke my heart because again, like just that was the comic collective was like just the kind of the closest connection I had to my uncle since he's passed. So to walk away from it, it's something that it bothers me to this day. But at the same time, it's like, well, I can't. With the amount of money they want,
Oh, for sure.
I have a lot of other passions, and as long as the video games aren't awful and I get a couple good cartoons, I'll kind of live through that. But other part of it too is they made it too hard to pass down. The if the books weren't hyper violent, the sexuality was weird.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't sexuality, the identity politics. It's like the thing that made comics great was to have the ability, one, to make all those new friends and have those super nerdy conversations, but
Absolutely.
to take this stuff and pass it down to the next gen, to build the new fans and see where they're going to go with their fandom. Were they going to be an indie only person? Like I have friends who only read like Evil Ernie and Lady Death. F the big two. Like
That's fair.
Vampirella. Like that. Like that's their stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
The and then so and then people out there who are ahead of the manga craze and just, oh man, no, I'm only getting Shonen Jump, and I'm like, all right, dude, well, can you at least teach me how to read this damn thing?
I was a Shonen Jump kid when it was, well, when they were still selling them at like 7-Elevens and CVS's and stuff. I was a Shonen Jump kid, so that just took me back when you said that, because I forgot that we actually got Shonen Jump here in America for a long time. But it's and what you said about it's hard to pass down. I mean, especially not just with the premium price point, you want premium. You want premium quality, you want premium work and premium stories, which we weren't getting and still arguably are not getting, at least from the big two. But also, gone are the days of like all ages books, and even like, because I mean, even in the 90s, a lot of the comics they weren't really kid friendly, but like the violence was part of the 90s. So it was like we consumed pretty violent media, but it was and it's going to go down the whole rabbit hole of like, are video games violent or our TV shows violent, blah blah blah, whatever. It completely bypassing that whole conversation. It was part of the culture, so it was a little more okay. Like, I was reading McFarlane's Spider-Man at 8 years old, and it wasn't the most adult thing out there, but it sure as heck wasn't 8-year-old friendly.
Yeah. Eric Larson's Mary Jane looking like a blow-up doll was a little problematic, I suppose.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, not for me, but not for a prepubescent boy. And my father, he didn't read comics, but I do remember one time when I was in high school, I forget what I was reading, but he saw a cover, and it was it wasn't even Marvel. I think it was an Image comic. And it was a little bit of a provocative cover, and even my dad was like, nice. And he didn't even read comics, so but they knew how to market. I'm
sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, you're good. You're good. Carry on. Have a thought. Jump in.
Listen, I think one of the worst things to happen to comics was when they got rid of the Comics Code Authority. The having to force creators to be creative and work around, the restrictions gave way to this lazy era of the hyper violence, of the on the nose nonsense. Like, you go back, like Jim Lee's X-Men, right? The books were never violent; they were action packed.
Yes.
And if you did get something so DC was always a little freer with the violence. Like, they love to chop off heads, right? Like,
for sure.
I think like one of the most I brain farting on which one it is, but there's a Titans book where it's Jericho. I think they thought Jericho was dead, and he was hiding in Deathstroke's body, and the book ends with Jericho or Deathstroke chopping off Wintergreen's head, and it's a shocking image.
Oh,
it's a shocking image, but something they really didn't do in Marvel, but DC was always about it. They tend, the books were action packed, and you looked at the female designs, like everybody loves Psylocke, right? Who doesn't love hot Asian ninja assassin warrior chick?
No, not me. I love my wife.
I
get you though.
In the 90s, you had this ninja assassin running around in essentially a thong, but like she was hot, but she wasn't like super sexual. You just kind of rolled with it. And I think when you got rid of the Comics Code Authority, and it gave them the ability to inject, sexual overtones into the books, and to not show some restraint. You when you that's when you lost the ability to have I guess the all ages book that maybe I might not let you read it when you're 8, but I'll definitely let you read it when you're 10 or 12.
Oh, for sure. And that's kind of where I'm struggling with, especially with my younger one, because she loves. I'm so proud of her. She loves Spider-Man.
Awesome.
She loves Spider-Man, and I will give Disney Junior specifically props for one thing over the last several years. Well, besides acquiring Bluey from Australia, the one thing that they created in-house was Spidey and His Amazing Friends. Is the one thing on Disney Plus and on Disney Junior I would actually let my daughter watch. Well, maybe some Dino Ranch too, because it's dinosaurs. Who doesn't love dinosaurs? Can't screw up dinosaurs. But it actually, they did it fairly well. I mean, it was Miles, it was Gwen, it was Peter, but I mean, it's not like the OG Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. No Starfire, no, none of the OG crew. But it is a good gateway for those younger audiences. The only problem is they don't follow up with anything. The only thing they followed up with is yearly for free comic book day. They will put out a Spidey and His Amazing Friends book for free comic book day, and that is it. Other than that, like the day of all ages books, I won't say it's gone, but it is. You'll be lucky to find an all ages book out there that isn't a leftover from Free Comic Book Day 2021.
But see, so that's the crime of it all. Is I should be able to walk to a comic store, and all major titles, with the exception of like your Punishers,
Yeah.
your Wolverine solos, and even the Wolverine solos were still very accessible to kids. But like I should be able to grab an Avengers, Uncanny X-Men, Spider-Man, and Fantastic Four, and have no worries about what my kid is going to see.
Mm-hmm.
The most they should struggle with is the language used. So you got to look up a dictionary to know what he's saying. And my grandfather was a history teacher, a voracious reader, and he would always get mad that it just during the summer you'd have to read. It was a requirement when we were with him. You had to read at least 6 books before the end of the summer. Okay. And then he got annoyed that I was just a big comic book guy. And then he grabbed my books.
Because you found a workaround, that's why.
Yeah.
He found a loophole.
Mm-hmm. And then he grabbed my books one day, and he started tearing through the Ron Lin run on Silver Surfer. It was all the stuff leading into the first Infinity Gauntlet story. Mm-hmm. And he said that he was impressed because of the just because of the vocabulary words that were used. So he's like, no, he was like, okay, cool. It's like if you're actually taking the time to get the context of what these words mean, I'm okay with it because you're learning and you're having fun with it. And it just so happened to be at the time when we had to do this dumb, stupid standardized testing that my vocabulary was like in like the top 5% in the state of New York for whatever my age group was.
Oh, there you go.
7, so it's like cool. Comic books are helpful.
Yes, they are.
Just like when I was in college, an episode of Next Generation helped me pass help me write a paper because I didn't read the Adventures of Gilgamesh. I just so happened to put on Captain Picard having to talk to the metaphor monster.
Well, and isn't that a thing though too? Like, just with especially when we're younger, all these different sources we actually grab knowledge from, as opposed to our textbooks. Like I in high school specifically, Scrubs was still on when I was in high school, and I was taking I was taking like a high school equivalent physics class, and they discussed the concept of Schrodinger's cat. And before they were teaching about it. Actually, they were just about to discuss it, and it was discussed. I believe it was Scrubs. I could be wrong. I watched so much TV in high school. It wasn't even funny. That was high school for me. Yeah, yeah. I'm not too ashamed of it. People I went to high school with, I mean, I'm sure they're fine people now, but at the time, I couldn't stand them. But yeah, it was, saw it in an episode of Scrubs and raised my hand. I was like, oh, I know what this is. Schrodinger's cat is explained the concept of, well, the cat is both alive and dead inside the box until you open the box, and then you'll find out, and the atoms inside will all converge together, and you'll find out what the reality of the situation is. But until you do, it lives in a perpetual state of both life and death. And my physics teacher just sat there and was like, what? Because I think my physics teacher didn't even know to the extent how far I was going down the rabbit hole of it. Because it wasn't even that I learned all of it from watching that show, but it was interesting enough that I then did my own independent research and looked up on it. And I was like, oh, this is cool. Quantum physics and theory can be neat. But yeah. Just to bring it back over to comics, though, yeah. Good vocabulary in comics, especially in the better days. Now it's not nearly as much. But with talking about going to comic shops, and unfortunately, there's isn't too much great stuff out there. But you did mention that you still are going out and buying. We're gonna get into that for a second, but I did have, just since you don't have your collection with you, I thank you for sharing some of your favorite books from your collection, though. But I do have a couple of pieces of my collection here. And I always do a little show and tell myself. I always like to go dig into my collection and grab one or two books out, because sharing is caring. So the first one I have here is, now unfortunately this is not the first printing, but it is the second printing of Amazing Spider-Man 361.
Yes, awesome.
The origins and our first appearance of Carnage, and it's the silver cover. I for the life of me cannot find the first printing white cover. It is. I mean, even this wasn't. I mean, it wasn't like breaking the bank, but it was definitely more than I would have liked to spend on cardboard and paper. But and that's the catch-22 with comics. You get great stories, but at the end of the day, all it is you get one rainy day or one leaky pipe, and poof, it's all gone. So.
Yeah. Let me tell you something, dude. When Carnage dropped, people were losing their bleeping minds.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, when they teased it,
I'll just put it here for everybody.
We're coming, because we're coming out of the end of the Eric Larson era.
Yep.
So when Eddie gets broken out of prison, and you see the little piece of the symbiote dripping down in front of Cletus, people are like, "What is this? What does this mean?" And then all of a sudden, like a few months later, after you get what's supposed to be the final confrontation between Spider-Man and Venom, which is one of my favorite covers of all time, the Alas Poor Spider-Man, and then you got that cover, dude. People were going nuts to get a hold of that first print, and they legitimately could not keep it in stock.
So real quick, Slavery Game. Although I don't see his comment here from Rumble, he does have, "Hey, Comics Daddy Kevin. Hey, Slavery Game." But he did also say in Rumble, or no, I'm sorry, that was White Devil Otaku. My bad. White Devil Otaku said it was Big Bang Theory with Schrodinger's cat. I apologize. Okay, so Big Bang Theory wasn't on when I was in high school, but no, there was something specifically in high school. It wasn't Scrubs then. I thought it may have been Scrubs, but no, it wasn't Scrubs apparently.
I feel like it would have been a Dr. Cox conversation.
Yeah, it may have been like a medical. I know there's a couple of wild medical theories that are and anomalies that are discussed in Scrubs as well. Like Occam's razor is discussed in Scrubs, where the most likely outcome is usually or it's like the first outcome is usually the most likely outcome or something like that. It's been a while. But the fact that I remembered what it was called is amazing. But yeah, I don't know what it was then. It was back in high school, because Big Bang Theory was after I had finished high school. So, but I can't remember what it was then. It was, who knows? It may have been something that I caught on in like an episode of Battlestar Galactica, maybe, or something. I don't know. It's been forever. I can't remember all the different TV that I watched in high school. But White Devil Otaku, thank you for the correction. I appreciate that, because I do like to be factual. And if I'm not, I feel bad. But my other piece that I have to share in the collection is one of my personal favorites. So I have a Gold Key comic here, Kevin. Gold Key, for anybody who doesn't know, Gold Key is very, very special because they did a lot of stuff with Disney. They did a lot of stuff with Hanna-Barbera. They did a lot of stuff with Warner Brothers, with Looney Tunes. They did a whole lot of comic books for some of your favorite older cartoon movies and animated TV shows. So my favorite Golden Key comic, which I have right here, is Walt Disney Productions' The Adventures of Robin Hood.
That's awesome.
And
that's old school.
Yeah. And the reason why this one is so special to me is because Robin Hood is hands down my fan favorite Disney movie. It was probably, besides Lion King, it was probably the other Disney movie that I can remember from as far back as I can possibly remember. But it was such a great movie, and you had it was back when Disney was, wholesome and told good stories and made animals found ways for animals to, relate on an emotional level with people. And here, I shouldn't have done this, but I took it out. And the lighting isn't great, but
you're a brave man.
It's still pretty decent with the with it's faded, but it's still pretty decently holding up in terms of the colors. So Robin Hood. I have Robin Hood on DVD. When we still had Disney Plus, I would put it on at least twice a year for the kids to sit down and watch. Like, Dad, we like Robin Hood. Do we got to watch it again? Yes, we do. But that's what I have to share out of my collection. But let's get into just kind of what are you not collecting, but I guess, collecting, but what are you going out and reading? What are you going out and reading nowadays? Obviously, the big two are, for the most part, highly disappointing, and we'll get into a book that came out this week from Marvel that you're pretty passionate about.
I've been kind of going back and just filling in some old issues. I've been doing a lot of back issue hunting, mostly off of eBay. If there's something there's a mini series or a run that I remember that I'm like, oh yeah, I want that. I just go and kind of stalk it out until I get it.
Fair enough.
Just because I feel a little nostalgic. I know I got to get out there in the field, and I know there's some great indie stuff going on right now. A buddy of mine, I can't remember the name of the book, but it's whatever Jeff Johns is currently working on. He seems to he sings its praises. Fat Steven's a girl.
Fat Steven. I was gonna say, Kevin, we got you, buddy. We got a friend of yours in here. Yeah, Fat Steven's a good dude. I got to actually talk to him for the first. I've been hanging out in his chats and stuff, but I got to actually talk to him for the first time yesterday. So, hail Fat Steven. What a good guy. Fat Steven Seagal. But anyway, I'm sorry. Carry on. I saw he was in there, so I figured it'd be nice to highlight him real quick.
No, but it's mostly this back issue though. I miss it, so I'm gonna start picking up. I picked up Ultimate Spider-Man, the newest one, just kind of see what everybody was talking about. I did get a chuckle that the only Peter Parker can be happy is if it's in an alternate universe, but
it's fine. It's fine. I need it to be the Prime universe, and then I'll be happy.
I'm one of those people where I go, why is it so hard to give people what they want? Because that is the one thing that Marvel used to excel at was giving people what they wanted. It's why characters never stayed dead. It's why B-listers always got costume changes and stuff like that. They just used to be really great at keeping the temperature in the room and knowing what the fans wanted to see. And Spider-Man, ever since they decided to bizarrely let Spidey be 30 at the end of the Larson run on Spider-Man, instead of just being like happy 30th anniversary, I know Marvel regretted it, and I accepted it because listen, Peter Parker, there was only a handful of characters who were allowed to age, and it had direct ramifications on Marvel. Spider-Man, Human Torch, Iceman were all the same age. So the second you aged Peter, you aged the other two, and it changed the dynamics. It changed the dynamics across, three major titles.
Oh, for sure.
What I mean? So they're finding a way to backpedal, although it probably just easy to ignore it. Finding a way to backpedal, I know, was a priority, but to destroy the one thing, listen, I didn't mind. Well, I'll put it to you like this: everybody complains about the Clone Saga. Mm-hmm. There were some bright points in it. I would say, especially the ending of it. Norman kidnapping May was a fantastic story beat.
Oh, for
So
sure. As
when,
awful as it was,
yeah.
it was gripping and it was excellent storytelling.
So like, and then Norman's back after all these years. He has the baby, and they don't know about it. The May is dead. It would have been a really interesting place to have told stories from that would have reset the status quo in Spider-Man. And again, they used to be great at that. Like right, like what were when Uncle Ben's death. Wouldn't it have been so long that it probably like again? It's always like time heals all wounds, right? So
Yeah.
Peter feeling the all-consuming guilt for Ben's death should have started to subside a little bit. If you're talking real time. So what do? They kill Gwen, and it reminds Peter why he has to stay vigilant. So same thing here. What happens? Peter. Peter has moved on from Gwen. Has got a beautiful wife and family. May dies. May dies, and they lose their baby in the process.
Yeah.
So like Peter's got to so it's like they kind of in desperately trying to do a reboot by going with chapter 1. First of all, I love John Byrne, but we were 10 years removed from Man of Steel. That magic is not going to be there.
No,
and
not by any means.
Yeah, he did some cool stuff with the characters, but it wasn't what Spider-Man needed at the time. So we jump back into the main line, and we just ignore the fact that that we had these massive story beats, and everything has always been off since then.
Oh yeah, losing a child, losing a marriage, losing all that, everything that went down with that. It was like you said, it was definitely a missed opportunity for Marvel to definitely expand and give us the Peter that we've been wanting since then. Unfortunately, it took an alternate universe and also a complete accident as well, because Jonathan Hickman wasn't supposed to write Ultimate Spider-Man. Donny Cates was. And I am so glad that Jonathan Hickman is writing Ultimate Spider-Man. But and yes, it's not the Prime Universe, but I have to say, better late than never. And at least they're not writing it as if it's a what if. From my understanding, this Ultimate Universe, I mean, in my opinion, it's got legs. I don't know how long they'll continue with it. It's been going for almost 2 years now. I mean, granted, Ultimate Spider-Man is the best title out of all the Ultimate titles right now, in my opinion. But once they deal with whatever's going on with the Maker, there's opportunity to basically start fresh.
Yes.
And unfortunately, the editorial staff and everybody in charge, they will just look at it as basically just kind of... Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they just did like they did with Ultimate Fallout back in the day, where they will have it all collapse upon themselves. The Maker will get away once again, and instead of Miles Morales coming through, it'll be... I don't even know. Native American Hawkeye probably getting pulled through into the Prime Universe. Which, don't get me wrong. The Hawkeye character in 6160, that's part of the Ultimates right now. It's a neat character. They had his story with him and Captain America in issue, I think 9, or 8, where they kind of fleshed out his character and his motivations a little bit. It's an interesting character. Is it the best writing? No. But they made it interesting enough that at first I was hesitant, but as the issue went on, I was like, I can kind of get behind this character as long as they let him grow over time. And Ultimate Hawkeye is actually coming out later this year, so hopefully we do see that. But yeah, I just hope... I know it won't happen. I just hope they don't pull an Ultimate Fallout on us again. Because the Ultimate Universe, it's got legs and it can be its own standalone thing.
I'm hoping they learned from the mistakes of the last one, because the last Ultimate Universe, it just became shock porn. What awful, terrible thing can we do? Again, no creativity, just shocking thing this month. Incest, double, triple homicide.
Don't remind me.
Spousal abuse. All right, someone, can we stop this? It became repellent, and antithetical to everything that people wanted from it. So, listen, we leave it to Marvel to leave money on the table. So
of course,
hope springs eternal. So I'll keep fingers crossed and light a candle for you, brother, because I'm hoping it works out.
I appreciate it, man. But no, I would recommend. Although I hated having to spend that money on a Marvel book. It's the fact that we're getting the quality story that we are. And now I'm not going to sit here and say Jonathan Hickman is writing the greatest Marvel story and greatest Spider-Man story of all time, but it is the Spider-Man story that we need currently. And that is where I'm giving him all the credit in the world. Because also Hickman outside of Marvel does great work. Hickman on East of West was fantastic. I loved East of West. So if anybody can kind of pull Marvel out of the spiral, out of the in the death flails that it's in right now, I've been saying on X for weeks now that the MCU needs to fail hard enough that hopefully in an ideal world, Disney decides, well, nobody wants to buy Marvel Studios. Let's break off Marvel Comics into its own thing, sell that, and then hopefully whoever buys that goes to Hickman and says, okay, you are editor-in-chief. Go. that is my ideal fantasy situation for how Marvel Comics plays out in the next 5 years. I know it won't happen, but and then just to kind of touch on stuff outside of Marvel and DC, I have recommendations for you, Kevin, since you're not really currently reading anything that's being put out. So
I'll even come back with a report.
There you go, G.I. Joe out of Image
Nice.
and Skybound. Now Image has been doing G.I. Joe Real American Hero. I think they're on 317 this month. But that one's not tied into what they're doing with Transformers. This one is. So we've got G.I. Joe #1, which was a reprint this week. So that's really good. And now I am not a big fan of multiverses and stuff like that. So that's why I was even hesitant to get into like Ultimate Spider-Man and the new Ultimate Universe. Same thing applies to Image Comics. So Spawn with Scorched and all the different Spawns and all that. I'm not really a huge fan. Medieval Spawn is my exception to the rule there. So definitely check it out, Medieval Spawn, especially if you're into like fantasy and knights and dragons and creatures and all that stuff. It's really cool. And then also Image, obviously, if you haven't heard about it by now, we've got Transformers. Transformers is the best thing.
What a cover! That's a great cover.
And this is the trade paperback. This is volume 1. This actual cover, this is the cover of issue 1. Raw, this is going for over $100 right now. Not the trade paperback, but the actual issue 1. But it's Daniel Warren Johnson does a fantastic job. He's basically rebooting the entire Transformers franchise from back in 1984, retelling that whole story, making it more grounded, giving all the Autobots and even some of the Decepticons some more humanity in a sense. Like obviously they're giant robots. There's no actual human qualities to them, but we're connecting emotionally with the Transformers more. And Daniel Warren Johnson's doing a great job. Mike Spicer is doing a fantastic job with the art. Awesome. So I would definitely recommend even just go pick up the trade paperback of that. But yeah, go check those out, Kevin. Especially if you're looking to hopefully maybe start supporting new monthly books again. So
that's right up my alley, man. I'm an '80s baby. Transformers and G.I. Joe. Listen, I get up every when I'm home. I start my day. My son usually wakes up around between 5 and 6 a.m. Go upstairs, put on Amazon Prime, watch Knight Rider.
Okay.
And then I'll switch over to YouTube and watch the Hasbro stream of G.I. Joe before I drop him off at daycare.
Nice. Now instead of YouTube, have you tried Tubi? Because I don't know if Tubi has G.I. Joe on there. I know they have Transformers.
Tubi has all the miniseries, the awful Dick version of the show, and they just put up G.I. Joe the movie, which is my favorite opening credit sequence of all time. I play it at least 10 times on the 4th of July.
It's the only reason why I say go watch it on Tubi instead of going to the 24/7 Hasbro stream is because I refuse to give Hasbro any of my hard-earned money. I absolutely refuse to do so, even if that means watch hours on YouTube for their monetization. So now we've talked quite a bit about comics, probably longer than I would have liked to, but we're grooving and chilling, man. This is fun. So Kevin, you are you have a background in wrestling, as a wrestling promoter, as a wrestler, and then you're also part of a wrestling podcast with Marvin from That Park Place. So how, I guess, kind of maybe the TLDR, because I don't know how much time you're working with. Kind of what really what kind of got you into wrestling, and then what led from you? What kind of got you then into being a promoter and doing the work that you're doing as a promoter?
Sure. Well, so when I was a kid, I loved wrestling. One of my earliest wrestling memories, there's two of them, was watching my dad watch watch the Dino Bravo weightlifting contest on Saturday night's main event, and him pushing the bar down on Hercules. And my dad just marking out for how jacked everybody was. And then the other memory is it was like right after Big Boss Man debuted. So my dad was on my PD, and when he started, they had the old school like Billy Club,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but then he switched over to the Boss Man nightstick. So the day my dad got the Boss Man nightstick, he showed it to me. He goes to leave. Boss Man beats up Hogan with the nightstick. I thought it was the coolest thing I've ever seen. So
I think I know where this is going.
yeah, so needless to say, I probably got in trouble for attacking my brother's my father's nightstick the next day. But but after that, it just stuck with me, and so there's just something special about that era, from Andre turning on Hogan, and well, so the who paid for the surgery, who changed your face, brother, the $1 million man. And evil Earl, all the way up to the Cobra biting Macho Man in the ropes. To it was me, Austin. It was me. Like
I love your impressions are spot on. By the way, I'm loving it. You need to get into doing some voiceover. Maybe they do. A wrestling animated series, and they just go, oh, you know what, Kevin Apollo, he'll just voice everybody.
So I used to joke we wanted to do wrestling babies. It's just straight up like Muppet Babies, just the wrestlers with babies. Vince was nanny, so you only saw his legs, but he still had to do the Vince walk.
I was gonna say that's how you know it's Vince. You got the Vince walk coming down the stairs.
Get back the bat.
Could you imagine one of the babies gets up or messes up? You're in timeout. Now we need to get the licensing. Let's do it, Kevin. Wrestling babies, WWE babies.
Yeah. So, but as I got older, one of my gym teachers was I guess he knew Beefcake in college. And he traveled around. It was really friendly with him. And I guess when they were moving around I don't remember what sport it was that he played, but they wound up living together down south. And he used to wrestle bears.
Wait, what?
He used to wrestle bears at wrestling shows.
Oh, okay.
He wanted to do it in our school, but the school board wouldn't sign off on it. And then so I graduate, and I found one of my football coaches because I where I live. Little Guido is from my hometown. Little Guido, so Nunzio James Martato was from my hometown. Worked out in my local gyms. So one of my wrestling coaches became friends with Little Guido, and then he got him into it. And then when I come home from college, I just kind of needed something to do with my time. I'm just farting around on the internet, and I find ScottyCharisma.com, and I pop on it, so I realize it's my coach. So I write him, hey, I want to go do this. So I go down to the school. They're coming back from a trip down south. I think they were in Georgia. So it's like, so they're all getting out of the truck. They're all laughing and joking. And they're all talking about how, they're on the phone with I think it was Moondog Spot. He's like, I can't believe he threw that dynamite in that pond, and we watched all them gators. I told you boys know how to have fun. I'm like, wow, this stuff is like that part of wrestling is real. He's running around doing crazy, dumb adventure shit. You're like, how cool is that? So I had a couple conversations. I'm like, I'll be back. I saved that year's tax return, put down my deposit, and that's all she wrote. And within a couple of years, I got to I got to meet some fantastic friends, some fantastic lifelong friends. Got to meet folks like Tommy Dreamer and Crowbar and eventually Kevin Sullivan, and just got to do some really cool stuff. And unfortunately, when I wrestled, it was a pre it was pre-iPhones, pre-iPhone. YouTube was only used to post Family Guy clips and get you kicked off of it. So there's a lot of cool stuff that they did that just wasn't out there. But like one of my last matches, it was a tag match with me, Hacksaw, Snuka, and Slaughter versus Nikolai versus Nikolai, and like three guys doing fake Russian gimmicks. But like I was, but I was like, this is awesome. Like I'm wrestling, and I wrestled Nikolai constantly. I was a patriotic baby face, so like I wrestled Nikolai in my sleep. All right, what are we going to do? Whatever I tell you, just come out, just But I'm like, I'm in there, and I'm like, oh my god, like. That's Sergeant Slaughter. That's Hacksaw Jim Duggan. That's
I was
Jimmy.
gonna say that must have been surreal for you.
I was like, how cool is this?
Oh.
I bump around the ring and Sarge, hey kid, how long have you been doing this? Most couple years, sir. You move around pretty good. We need guys your size. Here, take my card and call Mark. I don't know who Mark Carano was at the time. So, he's like, we're going to be back in town. I'll get you in for a tryout. And at that point, Sarge had actually gotten, one of my teachers. He had gotten him down to OVW at the time. He paid his way down there, but they had him. He was featuring pretty regularly on Heyman's OVW. And I was like, oh, this is super cool. Then I just happened to hire the wrong personal trainer. She blew out both rotator cuffs and damaged my ulnar nerve. And I was like, I'm not going to do this wrestling thing for a while.
Oh, God.
But in between there, I recruited Bull James, who would later go on to become Bull Dempsey, down at NXT. You got a couple of friends going, and then I decided that I was going to start running, which I started ACW because the Indies kind of changed a little bit, and it wasn't as accessible to the younger guys. So I wanted to have a spot where because again I was fortunate enough to learn how to. My teacher was an old school WWF, WCW, ECW guy. He's a job guy, but traveled the world and did all kinds of cool stuff. I got some cool Virgil stories that I probably can't tell. Oh, I'll be right back. I have to take this.
No, for sure. Absolutely. Do you think?
Right.
There we go. I'll just do that. But, ladies and gentlemen, how awesome is this show? But I hope everybody is enjoying the show tonight. While Kevin's taking a quick break, he's got an important call. Let me catch up with the chat a little bit here. And again, thank you everybody, 24 people between YouTube and Rumble watching tonight. So thank you guys so much for being here. Let's just catch up a little bit with the chat while Kevin's on the phone. Linnea said, time for me to get to bed. Have fun, everyone. Linnea, hey, thank you so much for hanging out. I know it was late for you. You have yourself a good night and get some good rest. Queen Comics Wife mentioned she got the Labyrinth comic books today, the comic book store that she was talking about last night. So yes, we after taking the kids to the dentist today, we ended up stopping at our comic shop because for the last 24 hours, I have been hearing about how I didn't go and pick up these friggin' Labyrinth books for her. So she got her Labyrinth books. So everything is right in the world now. I am no longer at risk. So Brimstone says, crashing through the sky comes a fearful cry. Cobra, Cobra. Queen Comics Wife also said, comics out of making a quick dinner, so you're eating what is here, and that's it, and that's that. Hey, I never complain. You feed me. If anything, you feed me too much. That's probably what I'm complaining about. Lord knows, I need to lose the weight. Absolutely need to lose the weight. It's right here. Oh yeah, you can hear that drum pounding. And then let's get back up and through here. And no, we had a few more things, but yeah, Slay Every Game caught you earlier. White Devil Otaku caught you earlier. Fat Steven Seagal caught you earlier, sir. But yeah, and anybody as we are going through, because once Kevin gets back from the call, we should have, I don't know, maybe roughly another half an hour with him or so. Hopefully, he's on a very busy schedule, so I don't want to keep him too long. But if anybody has any questions for Kevin, whether it's about comics, whether it's about wrestling, we haven't even gotten into talking about how he's involved with WDW Pro and being commentator and contributor regarding talking about the culture wars and Disney and all that stuff. So if anybody has any questions for Kevin whatsoever, please pop them in the chat. And then Queen Comics Wife, if you want to go ahead and hop on over and get onto your computer, I know you want to come in and hang out for a couple of minutes near the end here. So go ahead and get ready, and then I'll pop you on in. I'll pop you on in Queen Comics Wife once we're finished talking about Kevin and his history with in the wrestling industry. But again, thank you so much everybody for being here. Again, please, if anybody is feeling generous enough to do so, on the Rumble side, obviously you have donations that you can do, Rumble rant and subscriptions. On the YouTube side, since we're not monetized, there are links in the description below, various ways to support the channel. There is the Comics Dad Venmo, the Comics Dad PayPal, the Ko-Fi, Comics Dad on Ko-Fi, and Comics Dad on Buy Me a Coffee. Also, if anybody wants to go check out what's going on over on Rumble, there's a link in there as well that you can click on. That is my referral link. You can go sign up for a Rumble account. Now it's 100% free to sign up for a Rumble account. Rumble is a 100% free platform, just like YouTube. It does have a paid premium subscription, which Queen Comics Wife and we will be doing premium streams and premium content that you can only access through premium, but I'm not worried about that. If everybody wants to go and create a Rumble account, go follow myself, Queen Comics Wife. That would be fantastic. And then let's see what else. Tomorrow, just since I'm thinking about it, tomorrow 6:00 Eastern Standard Time, we will have friend of the show, comic book artist Eric Hodson. We will have him and also the rest of their team of the Little Mermaid independent comic. They will all be here tomorrow. Pixel Trader, Piper Steed, Eric Hodson, they'll all be here to talk about the book Little Mermaid, Ariel, or AR13L, The Little Mermaid, for their Kickstarter campaign, which I think will be coming in 9 days left once they're on the show tomorrow, once they're on stream tomorrow with me. So go ahead and go check that out. If you go look up Kickstarter, Little Mermaid, that's MERCMAID. But also I'll have the links for that tomorrow for tomorrow's show. Be sure to check that out. That is their Second Chance campaign. Really excited to have them on and have the more independent comic creators to talk to and just help promote what they got going on with their books. And then I will actually get some stuff ready here for just in case when Kevin comes back. Actually, you know what? Here, I'll do this right now, actually. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is American Coliseum Wrestling. This is what Kevin was talking about when he represents ACW. So, go to the website, acwcoliseum.com, and see if they have any shows coming up near you. They also have contact buttons, so if you want to know more about ACW, or if maybe you're somebody out there watching and you are an independent wrestler up and coming and maybe you want to test the waters, get your toes wet, you can probably contact Kevin and his folks there at ACW through that button as well. And then also be sure, please, to go follow Kevin Apollo on X. He is at War Dog Apollo, and you can see this man. He is a monster. He is a monster of a man, Kevin Apollo. He makes me look like the flub that I am, but that's okay because Queen Comics Wife likes the flub. But no, I gotta. Yeah, I might be, when Kevin gets back on, I might be asking him to be my virtual personal trainer. But we got all sorts of stuff going on here. Let's see what's going on X real quick. Oh, so I don't think we'll be getting to it when Kevin comes back. But just real quick, let's touch on something real quick. So for anybody that doesn't know, today has been a very weird day, especially this afternoon, as Elon Musk apparently is just going scorched earth on Donald Trump and the Trump administration. And it all started with this. Elon Musk with a tweet, time to drop the really big bomb. At Real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT. Now, I don't know what the hell this is all about. Most people don't. It's and Trump and Donald Trump's been putting out tweets or posts on Truth Social as well. The two of them are just basically taking jabs and sparring back and forth with each other across their social media platforms. Elon Musk is definitely spiraling spiraling. It seems. I don't know if maybe he didn't take Doge canceling or him no longer being associated with Doge too well. Possibly. I know it was only a limited time appointment, but from what I've been reading, it's there is a possibility. It seemed like that it wasn't just his time had come to leave, that more maybe he was fired. I do not know what is going on there, but for anybody that that's interested in that, keep your eyes on that. Kendrick says, "I don't believe it for a second. Musk acting like a petulant child who didn't get his way." Yeah, that kind of seems to be the major consensus, because of course, there we go. Nope.
Gather round, it's story.
Nope. There we go. Click the right button.
Sorry, I only got like 5 minutes, but I wanted to make sure I pop back in.
No, you're good. You're good. All right, so real quick then. I know we talked quite a bit about comics. Let's just real quick, Kevin. I guess where can people find you? And you want to talk real quick about how just you got associated with WDW Pro and the folks at that.
Sure. Yeah, so I knew Marvin the Movie Monster from he was a fan of indie wrestling, so he used to go to a lot of shows, and we just got to talking one day and became friends. And then about a year ago, he said he wanted to start up a YouTube channel. That's where Tiny Toon Tiny Toon Wrestling Tooney. Oh my God!
Tiny Toon Adventures.
I just did what Warren did last night. And Marvin made that awesome Chris Jericho parody song.
I actually haven't seen it.
Oh, it's tremendous! And he did the first Tooney Con puppets, and then he decided he wanted to try to do a weekly show, and that's where we got the Tooney Talk Wrestling.
Okay.
And then a few months after that, and then tonight will be Tooney Talk TV, or was it Tooney Town TV? And it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. So every Tuesday and Thursday, check out the Tooney channels.
There she is.
Oh,
Queen Comics wife. She's not prepared.
Didn't tell me I was on cue.
Plug the headphones in. We can hear me.
So that eventually got me over to Pro, and the Pro show's been a lot of fun. And then I do Culture Casino every chance I get.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they've been it's been awesome being welcomed to the space like this. The Rona hit, and I thought I was the only person out here thinking that all this crazy woke entertainment killing my favorite IPs was making me insane. And all of a sudden there was this lush community full of like-minded people going, no, we got to stop the insanity. And then I didn't intend to become the Timu Tyrus on Pro, but I think I fit a nice. I think I found my niche.
Timu Tyrus, did you just say? No, I think Tyrus is the Timu Kevin Apollo. No, I'll respect the Tyrus.
I met Tyrus after we did a show together. Like, it was a little bit after he got released, and he told just a hysterical story about Vince making him dance, because he's like, I can't dance. He's like, I can't dance, and I got bad hips. He's like, if Vince kept grabbing his hips, like, you gotta rotate them. You gotta rotate them. Shake those hips. And Tyler's like, just stop touching me, please. Stop touching me, old man.
Jeez. All right, Queen Comics Life, are you good now?
I'm good.
There we go. What's going on, Queen Comics Life? Queen Comics Life, meet Kevin, Queen Comics Life.
Hey, Kevin.
Hello,
I gotta
how
say,
are you?
I'm one of your biggest fans. I watch you sometimes when you're on with the guys, and I love you. I think you're awesome.
Thank you.
I was so excited about meeting you today. I was geeking out. I was like, I'm meeting a celebrity. He's like, he's not a celebrity. I'm like, he is a celebrity, damn it.
No, I didn't say he wasn't a celebrity, but you're talking about no.
I see how it is, bro. I see.
Well, that's my woman. That's my woman. I gotta do something. You know what? I see how it is. I'm just gonna.
I am going to let you know, Kevin, that I did not pick that picture. Shame on him. That was a horrible picture he picked of you. I was so upset. I was like, you could have got any picture on the internet, and you picked that one? What is wrong with you?
I tried to go back to find one of the more recent pro shows, because I know you've been on the road for work. So I was like, all right, what was the most recent pro show where Kevin was actually at home? So I went and I found it. I was like, okay, let's just try and grab a screen grab of Kevin just smiling, and that was about the best that I could get. So
you can have taken it from here. I have no problem discussing my love of the beautiful Fontana Dam Resort here in Fontana Dam, North Carolina, just outside of Robbinsville. Come on by; it's our season. Have some fun. The plenty of rooms and delicious food. The just stay off the Dragon, because it's the damn worst road I've ever driven.
we drove to North Carolina once on the way down to Florida a few years ago. If there was a way to bypass, I would.
Pennsylvania's
I got out of the car. They stopped at a gas station, and I was like, because the way here, I come in through Knoxville, so I come from the Tennessee-North Carolina border, and I guess I must look super frazzled, and the girl just goes, "No, it's not going to get better. I don't think there's a damn straight road anywhere here in Eastern North Carolina." And I was like, "Thank you for your honesty."
Well, tell you what then, if that resort you're talking about, if you could somehow hook up a helicopter ride from Pennsylvania down to North Carolina, then we'll come check it out.
Fair enough.
But yeah, Kevin, I know you gotta get going, man, but there is just one quick thing I do wanna get your 2 cents on, and it was talked about last night on WDW Pro. So Marvel Comics introduces T'Challa's white son, Katema, as future Black Panther and King of Wakanda. So Marvel Knights, for those of you who don't know, Marvel Knights is a little more grittier side of Marvel. It was an imprint for Marvel back in the late 90s and in the 2000s. Got a little grittier stories, a little more gory, a little more adult themed. So Kevin, I don't know if you actually have read this yet, because it did just come out yesterday. I will say, up until the very last page, we do not know that T'Challa actually has a Slim Shady son. So I don't know if that maybe kind of colors your opinion and view on this a little bit or not, but go ahead and give us your take on this.
Well, my buddy Spencer Cooley, he does fantastic work and took the time to explain what's going on. So I'll listen. I will pick it up, but we know what this is. We know what's going on in regular Marvel. This is as I said last night, this is the last bullet in the sad pew of the woke lunatics. Because anytime we have to talk about a race swap, what do we usually say? Well, when are you going to cast Brad Pitt or Ryan Gosling as the Black Panther? So that's all they did. They race swapped. They race swapped this kid in hopes of owning some chuds. And it's sad and it's boring and it's lame, and there are more people watching the show than are going to go buy this comic.
Yeah, probably. I will say on the flip
side, I
don't
mean that's a bad thing.
No, you're good.
More people are excited to watch this show than are going to be excited reading a Marvel comic.
They are more excited for this one down here than they are for me. We do instead of this on every Thursday, I do this show every other Thursday, and in between. This one down here, she gets on stream with me and basically just yells at me and beats me with a spoon in front of people, and they love it. So, but I will just real quick, the other side of the coin here, just to play devil's advocate. Christopher Priest has a very good history and career in comics, especially with Marvel, and especially with Black Panther.
Yes.
I personally,
and I don't want to poo-poo it, because yes, this is someone who gave us awesome characters, revitalized the history, essentially pulled the John Byrne for Black Panther, and introduced him to reintroduced him for a modern audience.
Yes, and that being said, I don't know where his political ideologies or leanings or anything are. I mean, I have pretty decent ideas since Marvel is still contracting him and hiring him to do work, but just given his history and the good work we have gotten out of him, part of me thinks he's kind of leaning into that. Like, maybe editorial was like, hey, you know what, let's try to own these guys, because we literally find out he's white on the very last page of the issue. So it's not like we know anything about him or learn anything about him or they play into it at all in the issue. It's literally the very last page, like, big reveal. Aha, I'm a ghost. But so come issue 2, I think we'll see exactly how they're going to play this.
Yeah.
But until we see issue 2, part of me would like to believe that maybe Christopher Priest is like, okay, you guys think this is an own, but really, I'm just going to play into this like the meme that everybody's been treating it as. And that's just kind of my hope and my opinion on it.
Well, if it was classic Marvel, I'd be right there with you. Again, I'm a hope springs eternal person, so I have no problem being wrong. If I'm wrong, I will eat my words. If I'm not, then I will simply sit back on the good ship Schadenfreude and enjoy watching this fail.
No, for sure. Round off real quick because I mentioned this on Queen Comics Wife stream last night, but Kevin, just in case, because you are reading Ultimate Spider-Man now and maybe getting into the Ultimate Universe stuff. This book right here, Ultimate Spider-Man, what is it called? Incursion. There we go. Yeah, don't bother picking that up. It doesn't play into the Ultimate Spider-Man storyline at all. All this is like a 4 or 5 issue event to try to get people to believe that Miles Morales is the true Spider-Man of the 616. Yeah, I put a whole X post out about it. I have a new weekly show I started this week called The Pull List, where I'm giving basically recommendations on new weekly books that are coming out every week for New Comic Book Day on Wednesdays. So I was talking about this, and I initially was very, very hesitantly gave it my pull list recommendation. After reading this last night, I hate to do it to Art, but no, go!
Motherfucker, that's money you just threw out.
I know, and it's the worst $5 I've spent in the last 4 friggin' years.
I'm gonna literally kill you.
Screw that book.
You don't get dinner.
Screw Cody Ziegler or whatever the hell his name is.
So guess what? No dinner for you.
No, that's how mad that book made me.
I don't
because
care.
They are trying to undo. Money. Okay, you know what? Bye. That is how mad Cody Ziegler, whatever the heck his name is that's writing Miles Morales currently, pissed me off. Because you can't just leave the one good thing that we are getting in Marvel alone. You have to take one issue and just try to make Peter Parker look like a bad Spider-Man to his own damn kid. And that's basically what happened. God. So, but, now that being said, Kevin, what do you got going on, man? Let everybody... Oh, I'm sorry. There is one thing that you have going on that I don't know if I know it was briefly touched on Pro about a week or 2 ago, but you're starting your own YouTube channel. Is that correct?
Yeah, hopefully by the end of August. But first, it's going to be Lauren Connor and I starring in a Pro Network show called Lauren and Apollo versus the World. So I think that starts in a couple of weeks. And then I think in July, I don't know what I'm calling it, though. I was kicking around calling the channel the House of Apollo, the only HOA you'll ever want to be at. Or the Kevin Apollo channel. But that sounds boring. I don't know. You guys
know what? I'm an idea guy, man.
Sleep.
You know what? I will just do this again. There we go. But yeah, man, just shoot me a message. I'm an idea guy. I'm a brainstormer. Bounce stuff off me if you want. I'll let you know. It's all good, brother. But so besides that with Lauren, and what else? Where can people find you? Is there anything else you got going on besides that? Is there anything you want to promote? Maybe that was work you were talking about. ACW.
Oh yeah, well, I've got a couple of ACW shows coming out. So anybody over in the Northeast, if you from New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, the Middletown Mall and the Galleria at Crystal Run, July 12th, we'll be doing a ACW live event right there in the center of the mall. So that'll be a lot of fun. I'll have the Facebook event up, I think, hopefully by tomorrow. Other than that, just find me on Twitter, War Dog Apollo. Same thing on Instagram. I think it's War Dog _Apollo. Twitter and Instagram are the same thing, ACW _Coliseum. The Pokemon Coliseum spelling, not the Roman Coliseum spelling. And just hit me up, have some fun. I have no problem answering questions. I try to be as honest as possible. And hopefully, if you had a good time, I'd love to come back. But I think you guys are great.
I appreciate it, man. I feel bad because there was so much more we could have talked about today, but like I just kind of we I mean, granted, I'm comics dad, so mostly we talked about comics, which is great. But I feel bad because like there's so much more I would have loved to talk to you about. But yeah, absolutely. If you enjoyed yourself, man, your open invite to come back, whether it's for Talkin' Shop or for even if you want to maybe talk some new comics, you come on and we can hang out for the pull list on a Monday night or something if you want, or hell, even if you want to grab a coffee from wherever you are and join us in Comics Couple Cafe, we'll try to not make you feel like a third wheel.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. I really sincerely had a great time. Well, hopefully I'll see you soon, man.
Yeah, of course. And just before you go,
Especially for Queen. Thank you.
Yep, and then just hang out
Thank
for a
you.
minute.
Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
Kevin, if you don't mind just hanging out for a minute, I'm going to go through my outros and then we'll wrap this up. So,
Cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us tonight. The currently 9 of you on YouTube, 9 of you on Rumble still here hanging out. I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. I hope you guys enjoyed our guest, Kevin. I hope you guys enjoyed the cameo by Queen Comic Spoon Wife, Wooden Spoon Wife. But as always, everybody, thank you so much. I appreciate your support. Please be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube, or like and follow on Rumble. Share the channels, share the streams, hit the notification buttons. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your coworkers, tell the people you love, tell the people you don't love. Do that too. That's okay. Tell your dogs, tell your cats. Cats apparently have opposable thumbs because I heard about a cat flipping somebody off the other day. Do whatever, but just share, please. I appreciate you guys. Also do the same thing with Queen Comics Wife's channels on Rumble and on YouTube as well. And as always, everybody, please be good to yourselves, be good to each other, support your local comic shops, support independent comic creators, which, Kevin, we got to talk indie comics next time you're on, brother. And then also support small content creators like myself, like Queen Comics Wife. And then also, I'll be sure, Kevin, let me know when you're launching the channel, and I'll be spreading that around as well. So
Awesome.
Support small creators like our new friend Kevin Apollo here, and many other friends that we have as well. So thank you, everybody, so much. Kevin, in honor of Pride Month, I would like to hit you with one more thing. So you are known as you have a new nickname on WDW Pro, Peepaw, and there's a certain clip that's played. So let's hit you with my modified version of that, and then we'll go into the outro. Thank you, everybody, so much for hanging out. I appreciate you guys. We will see you tomorrow night for the Little Mermaid team being on the channel to help promote their Kickstarter. Have a good night, everybody.
Why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
You are gay.
So tune in, geek out, it's all in good fun.
my-
Talking shop with Comics Dad, everyone. Let's keep the conversation lively and bright. See you next time for more insight. Welcome to Talkin' Shop, where we never stop discussing heroes, villains, every plot twist we've got, from ink to screen and all in between. With Comics Dad and friends, it's the scene.